all callers. I know there are people who listen regularly and don't call. Feel free to call tonight, express whatever opinion you may have on any topic. And the regular listeners and callers, I know you all will do your stuff as usual. So I have several topics I want to touch on tonight. The first one I want to speak about is in relation to what seems like an ongoing back and forth social media dispute between former Consul General to Canada, Fitzhuggins, my very good friend, and Marlon Bute, also my good friend. Now, in an Eyewitness News article, opinion piece around the 18th of October, there's a piece written by Marlon. Fitz is right back where he belongs after a dozen years of FOPA after FOPA. And in this piece, Marlon basically says that without any part of what he writes goes, without animus, I believe he will be remembered as a divisive and narrow-minded figure in terms of his approach to the office. One who spent an enormous amount of time politicizing everything, whether in person or virtually on Facebook. He will be remembered for collecting Canadian junk vehicles, fire trucks, and ambulances. And we go on from there. And then he goes, instead of reaching out to Canadian businesses and encouraging them to invest in SVG, he leaned on Vincentians in Canada to donate corned beef, sardines, and other barrel goods. In over 10 years, he failed to attract a single substantial Canadian investment to our country. And we must hope he doesn't again benefit from another taxpayer-funded off-lease vehicle. So I say good riddance. We welcome his replacement and sincerely wish her all the best in carrying out the duties that truly matter for SVG. Like I like to say, when I read these things, to me, that piece of writing is fueled completely by political divisiveness. That's my opinion. I don't know if anybody else. Well, obviously, they're going to have people with different opinions, but that is my opinion because that is a very unfair description of Consul General Fitzhuggins' stint in Canada. In my mind, totally unfair description and filled with political bile. Part of it goes on to say, Canada remains one of the world's wealthiest nations, a hub for innovation, investment, and knowledge exchange. Its advanced agricultural systems, fisheries, renewable energy technologies, and educational institutions could be invaluable partners in SVG's development. Hopefully, our new diplomat will be a capable and forward-thinking representative who builds networks, promotes trade and tourism, and creates new opportunities for Vincentians through education and exchange. Now, I like to be fair and honest, like how I was last week, and sometimes being fair and honest, you don't always have people supporting you, and it sometimes causes tension. But I would like to say once again that description of Mr. Huggins' role and stint in Canada is basically not a true indication of how Mr. Huggins carried out his duties there. Me and Fitz, I've known Fitz for a very long time. And Fitz is a very passionate person about St. Vincent. He's very passionate about St. Vincent. While sometimes we may say that, okay, he was basically a diplomat and some of the things that he said were basically not to be said by a diplomat. We can say that there are times that emotions and love of country and love of politics played a role in some of the comments he made, but to describe him the way that Marlon described him in that article is unfair. And I'm talking about personal experiences dealing with Fitz on a diplomatic level for his job while he was in Canada. There are many incidents that Fitz helped people with, despite their political persuasions or their political ideologies. There was never incident where anybody went to Fitz to solve a problem and he was like, nah, you as an NDP, I can't deal with that. That never happened. While Fitz was in Canada, Fitz was one of the most active diplomats ever, most active consul generals ever. It's not Fitz, part of Fitz's job was to basically liaise with potential investors, talk to potential investors, but Fitz can't make them invest. After the connection is made, then the arm of the government or the statutory body or whatever you want to call it, it's their job to convince the investors. I know for a fact that Fitz brought several investors to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even visiting ministers to Canada, ministers of housing, ministers of tourism. Fitz made links for them. And it's not his job to make or force or convince a potential investor to invest. It's the person who he passes them on to job. So if they were not able, if Fitz passes on somebody, a potential investor, to the person responsible, and that person does not invest, that's not on Fitz. His job was to make the connection in the first place. Even during this most recent Hurricane Beryl situation, and I'm not talking from anything anybody told me, I'm talking from what I know as fact, what I saw with my own eyes and heard with my own ears. Fitz brought potential housing investors to Union, toward Union, and they express interest in investing. That's his job. His job is to bring them, make the link, and whoever's supposed to sell. There were several times that they have their ministers in Canada where Fitz introduced them to potential investors, and some of them bore fruit. Minister of Housing, Dr. Orlando Brewster, he can say that for a fact because he spoke glowingly of some contacts Fitz introduced him to while he went on a government mission over there in Canada. There was me and Fitz have had some heated discussions on several topics that we disagreed on, but we always argue sensibly, and after we don't argue, we good again. There was an incident where, in relation to the farming program in Canada, where me and Fitz was at loggerheads because of certain things that were happening, and we argued about it, heated argument about it. But at the end of the day, he did what he thought was right. Good night. We have a caller. Let me just break away. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Mr. Compton, how are we doing today?
Hey, good night. I'm good. How are you tonight?
I thought you wasn't coming in because I had the music playing way after 8 o'clock. And I know you probably covered an event. You did the event in the Windward earlier?
No. Somebody else did that. I wasn't feeling too well, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
You weren't able to do that and still come in, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so because I probably still going on.
Yeah, that'd be too much.
Yeah. So
last week you were saying Cup De Silva. You don't know why you didn't get the nod.
Yeah,
that's 2020.
Yeah, it was strange to me that he won at the constituency council level, and then he was rejected at the national council, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was rejected by the party, basically.
They say you gotta get 70% according to Friday, 70% of the vote. And although he get the majority, he didn't get 70% of the vote.
So
that's why he didn't get the nod.
Okay, that makes sense to you?
The Constitution. And no, it don't. But what happened? They could have go back again, have a runoff or something to see who would get 70% or something. But what Dr. Friday did is he come in and endorse Bernard Wiley. and everybody's,
You,
as working as a team, they just step down and support Bernard Wiley. But I don't think that was a good move, because Bernard Wiley had his time. He was around 1998, 22 years ago. They should have never bring him back.
And to me, right, that was a big mistake by the NDP, because let me say again, similar to what I was saying last week, to alienate a strong contender like Courtney Silva by not giving him the nod, although he won at the constituency council level, was a big mistake on their behalf. Because if they were thinking, I don't think that Cork would have beat Jimmy, but Cork would have, and
They might have come closer.
he would have come close. He definitely would have come closer than Bernard, because I know Cork is my uncle. Cork is my mother, my mother's brother, right? So I know if he listen to me tonight, he might vex with me because I saying he wanna beat Jimmy, right? But I like to be fair. I don't think he would have beat Jimmy, but I think he would have come much closer than Bernard. And the fact that they rejected him, although he won at the constituency council, would leave you to wonder how they would treat somebody that basically doesn't belong to them. Let me put it that way. Doesn't belong to them politically, because he was running, he was part of their party, and they did him that. They replaced him with someone who didn't win, because and these are party rules. He didn't make the rules, he set down the rules. The rules are you go up in a constituency council, the person who gets the most votes is moved forward for ratification, and well, they don't have to ratify you, but why not, as you said, put it back to a second vote? And they totally alienated him from that. And he started to once again say, well, okay, he's not supporting the party because of what they did to him. And it's the same exact thing that they did with another young lady who was part of their party and who was a very strong person in their party. I'm speaking about Vakisha John. And now she's totally, I wouldn't say that Vakisha is a supporter of the ULP, but she is just no longer a supporter of the NDP. And
So,
even more recently, their recent pick of Kashaka Cupid over Louise Mitchell was kind of weird to me also. That was kind of weird to me also. Although persons may say, well, Kashaka is a younger candidate and Miss Mitchell is basically older than him. She want to appeal to the younger generation. But that was also a kind of strange pick for me also, that she managed to lose to Kashaka, knowing that who her father was basically. So
all right, so let me give you a list. Let me give you a list. Both parties. So we could go back to 1984. Jerry Scott get the nod, but Mitchell and the upper echelon, I understand, wanted the late David Bonady of Bonady Supermarket, but Jerry Scott prevailed.
Right.
Then we have 2001.
But Jerry Scott,
Noel Jackson get pushed.
Wait, okay. Let me address them one by one. Jerry Scott was a good decision, right? Because look what he did.
Yeah.
Right.
Grassroots.
Right. That wasn't a mistake.
Right. Okay. 2001, Noel Jackson got pushed out, and Rennie Batiste got the nod. Noel Jackson was angry. He talked about it. He was very angry at the time that he was pushed out.
But he didn't.
Let me go to 2005.
But he didn't switch, and Rennie Batiste was also an excellent pick. She went on to hold the West Kingston seat
for 2 terms
until she stopped and passed over to someone else in good timing, I would think. So that was Noel Jackson. Mr. Jackson, he did not feel so aggrieved that he just went on and started to bad talk the ULP or say bad things about the ULP. He helped out where he could and he supported.
Yeah, well, according to a certain radio activist, he was saying bad things about the ULP at the time. According to a certain guy who is a NDP activist.
Well, if somebody said
Okay,
that,
let me move on.
I can't doubt it. I can't doubt it.
2005, Israel Bruce got the nod from the Constituent Council, but they say Eustace didn't want him. So Eustace stepped in, and he had to step aside until 15 years later, which is last year.
That was and then we had the whole disagreement when between Israel Bruce, and I think it was Shola and Zita Barnwell, when there was
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, when there was they were arguing about it publicly, where I think it was Mr. Sinclair Leacock. He had said publicly that he doesn't want Barnwell. Yeah, that was that. And this is an issue I have with the NDP. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything bad about them. Is that their disagreements seem to have a way of always making it into the public domain and becoming a big talking point for people who are focused on politics. Now, the ULP, on the other hand, there would and will obviously be disputes, but you never hear a lot of these things coming onto the street. Recently, in a political meetings, I think it was South Windward. I think it was South Windward, where the PM was speaking, and there was a contention over the potential candidate, because there were several candidates who wanted to contest that seat, and some of the people did not like the choice of candidates, and there was somebody blurting out something in the background while the Prime Minister was speaking. But that is an individual voter on the street, one person shouting something because they prefer another candidate. But normally we don't really hear disputes that the ULP may have, internal disputes that the ULP may have spilling out onto the streets, and it becoming a big talking point.
In the interest of time, I want to just run through a few and leave a bit instead of going on, because I will be on too long. Okay. I'll be on too long if we
Yeah, go ahead.
If you comment, you have to comment on everyone individually. I'll be on too long.
Yeah.
So I just want to run through a couple.
Yeah,
2010, Charles get the nod in Central Kingston over, I believe, Brian George. And Brian George, I don't know if I have the name wrong. He was very upset. It was
a Brian. It was Lyndon
George. He was very upset. He came on Star FM the next morning with Marshall and Scoop, very angry. He said the process wasn't fair, and Marshall and Scoop, and then he cut him off and said, "We can't discuss this off the air. We have to discuss off the air." At the same time, we had Dinky Balcom and Margaret London. They were supposed to be the nod for NDP, but different stuff come up and they were pushed out. Let me go over now to 2015. Gerald Thompson, there was controversy. Gerald Thompson didn't want to leave, but he got pushed out. They pushed him out for Carlos James. Right? Same 2015, Jomo Thomas got the nod over Grenville Williams. There was some controversy. I read it in Eyewitness News.
Yeah.
And one of the ULP activists, the late Cruikshank, who died at a rally, at a tragic accident in the rally, he stopped supporting the ULP because of that and switched his support to the NDP.
Right.
Then we had Colin Graham. We were supposed to run in the 2020 period, but some issue come up with a domestic issue and he got pushed out.
Right.
And then we had the last one a couple weeks ago. The young guy in South Central, Windward.
It was South Central. It was
John. The Prime Minister came in, they say, at the meeting and said there will be no election. I have my man already, John. And he stepped down, and the other people stepped down and got John. So it's a long list between both parties where the leader of the party wanted one person over the people, the constituency or whatever. It's a long list.
Yeah,
But
Darren.
I'll leave that today in the interest of time. I don't want to stay on too long. I'll lift you off the air.
Yeah,
And so have a good night.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for your call. Darren John is actually South Windward. And all those names you mentioned, right? The selection process, the disagreement for the persons who did not make it, in my mind, were all correct for both ULP and NDP seats. I think the selection process and the disagreement by whoever disagreed was good, because when you listen to when some of the names that you mentioned, it's obvious it's obvious that some of them would not have made good politicians. It's obvious. Some people want to go into politics for the wrong thing, and while they are sometimes booted out during the selection process for varying reasons that could have to do at times with their political aspirations. That is what I think happens at times. Some of these people are booted out because of their political aspirations. The calls, because of the performance by these people, after they are chosen and they go on to be senators, there are a couple of senators in the ULP that were total failures, that did nothing in the past. And you mentioned one of them tonight, who was a ULP senator who didn't really live up to the standard that everybody expected because of his high level of intelligence. He just didn't live up to it. So I think the selection process is most times goes the right way. But what I could not see is why Kirk De Silva was booted out and replaced by Bernard Wiley. I can't see the reason for that. The others you mentioned, as I said, I could see the reason for that. You mentioned René Baptiste. René Baptiste went on to become one of the nations. She should be recognized for a lot of the stuff she did in relation to culture, and while she was a representative in West Kingston. Mr. Jackson has went on to make contributions also in the field, in his chosen field. He has made really good contribution to his field. So we see these things working out. But what worked out for the NDP when they booted Kirk from being the candidate? A lot of Kirk supporters say, well, nah, we about this, we are supporting them. And although I think he would have lost, he would have done better than Mr. Wiley. He would have even helped to add some more to the popular vote that the NDP won. But that's my thought on that. Anyone can feel free to call and voice their opinions. This is Feedback, sponsored by Basil's Bar, Life Compton, filling in for Kingsley the Freitas. So I'm just going to go back to addressing the situation between Fitz and Marlon. So, as I was saying, the description, my Marlon, let me just break. We have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I want to speak about two things.
Okay.
The first one is Merrick's disease.
Excuse me?
No. They're going around sharing away a lot of chicken and turkey. I could bet in $1,000. That nothing chicken and turkey. One of the best things for Merrick's disease.
Wait, you're saying that there's some Wait, one, you're saying that there's someone going around sharing out chicken and turkey?
Well, healthy. Yes.
They're sharing out chicken and
The
turkey.
bribing
Who is distributing
Yes.
chicken and turkey?
A lot of people getting young chicken, young turkey.
Oh, you mean
So you get some coming around.
you mean chicks? You mean chicks to
Right.
start farming
Yeah.
to start farming projects?
Right.
So what is wrong?
Yeah.
What is wrong with that?
No. Right about now. Right?
Mhm.
It's fun.
You're
A
breaking
number,
up. You're breaking up. I don't know. I
a
can't.
number of diseases going around.
Diseases.
It's Rex disease. It affects both chicken and turkey. There's no cure.
What diseases that?
But it have a vaccine. And it's a break my buttons on that. And it don't have a single dose of it.
To be honest, Carla, I'm not really following you, right? I'm not following you because you're kind of like breaking up, and I don't understand. You said that what I know
It's a break, you know?
I know there's a program, a Ministry of Agriculture program that is distributing chicks to farmers. I know about that because I have a coworker who received several of these chicks and has started a small business, and he's producing eggs and he's doing quite well. The last time I spoke with him, he told me that one or two of the chicks died, but because he was they were the pen basically the pen wasn't big enough, so he lost like one or two.
Let me tell you.
Uh-huh.
Let me tell you. When I talk, I don't. I can back up what I say. I always on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, worldwide, when there's disease, and these are going around worldwide. There's no cure for the vaccine. Fortunately, though, like this is a human. That's a good thing. But it's not fast killing rate. Another thing is talking about is the NPK fertilizer.
The what?
That is actually NPK fertilizer.
The fertilizer, right?
NPK fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
It disrupts the root system, right? It causes leaching, right? It contaminates groundwater, and if they continue sharing NPK fertilizer, the farmers keep using it. They can really shut down. They have to import drinking water because it affects the innovative water. But they don't control the thing. All the transport is to have different. The worst thing about the NPK fertilizer is that it encourages attack process and experiment. Just imagine a person farming for 50 years, they never see a single grasshopper come to the farm. Then they get a free stock of NPK fertilizer and it. Then all of a sudden, most of the grasshopper come to the farm. That is what the NPK fertilizer does. Encourage plants. And they would not tell the people that.
Okay, thank. I would like to comment on what you're saying, but unfortunately, I can't hear you too well. What I'm picking up is that you have a problem with the chicken distribution because of some sort of illness that you say might affect the chickens, and then the fertilizer issues. I think
NPK fertilizer.
I'm not NTK.
NPK.
Yeah. I think that okay, in relation, okay, I just looked it up,
Yeah.
right? NPK fertilizer says
Yes.
it contains three essential macronutrients for plant growth: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The number of fertilizer
Yes.
bag, okay, whatever. Doesn't seem like a bad type of fertilizer to me.
But
I
it's
think
dangerous.
mm,
Far out the benefits.
what I'm seeing here, is that the what is important is the ratio of the fertilizer and how you mix it and apply it. And like any other thing, if you don't use it correctly, then you might have issues. I think we have a lot of experienced farmers in St. Vincent that know what works and what don't work and what they could use from what they can't use. So that would be more, if you have a problem with the fertilizer, it seems like it would be more of a sort of the way you use it more than anything else. Not that it's actually dangerous. That's what I'm just looking at here, to be honest. I don't realize, I didn't know about it until you spoke about it, but it has a lot to do with the user's application and it being dangerous. As I said, in relation to the birds, I have a coworker who said that he has never had any problem with the birds. He lost birds because he lost chicks because of his error and him being a newcomer to the whole business. And after he realized what was going on, then he solved the problem. So that is what I have to say in relation to.
Get a chance.
Excuse me.
Look up marriage disease.
All right, Carla. Thanks for your contribution tonight. Yes. So as I was saying, is let's look at the role of a counsel general, so we can be misled. Hello. Oh, we have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Yeah, good night, life.
Hey, good night.
Yeah. Listen, I know you have patience with these callers and so on, but and I know you know better than. But you don't try to correct these people when they misrepresent on the radio.
Yeah.
But let me just give you my little 2 cents anyway, because when you started the program, you started with I'm sure it's Marlon Butte.
Yeah, Marlon
who wrote
Butte
that thing about
Fitz. Yeah.
Fitz Huggins. Right. So I'm going to try to address it. This guy, all this guy is doing is jealousy. He wanted to get the consul general job in Canada, that I know that. He was rejected. Right? Even at the time when consul general is leaving, he wanted the job. But I want to ask him one thing. If he really got his papers yet. Because he's in Canada, and I know for a few years back he didn't have his papers, and he was fighting, so he's trying to do all these things. He's trying to pull down people. He wanted the consul general job, and he didn't get it again. And now he's trying to build a consul general. He can't step nowhere in shoes. What Fitz has done for St. Vincent and the Grenadines from Canada, even before when he was here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, things that he did for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even way back in the airport, when this man was walking around with thing and asking to drop $1, all this kind of thing, walking. This man is in this industry for French and all these times. He went to Canada, and anybody would tell you that's one of the best consul generals ever, whether in all over the wherever Vincent and diplomats are. So I don't know what this guy is Marlon Butte is a fake. And I hope he got his papers. I hope he got the papers for Canada. And let me just hang up now because I know you have a lot of patience with these people because you know a lot more than you keeping these guys on the air and spewing a lot of crap basically, and you're not correcting them. And I go on to correct me then.
Thanks, Vicar. Good night. We have another caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Hey, good night, my brother.
Hey, good night.
Yes, man. Kari, good night, and once a culture man and a sister Titi. How you people going, man? They listen to this again tonight, man. I think let me wish you speedy recovery.
Definitely.
And God bless it and hope that you make it up and things. But this guy you have in here is a good man.
Definitely.
He answering some good questions. But let me tell you something now, man. Now, Mr. Likak will have to pay. He and Mr. Friday. And he was a group 6 Bramble and them fellas. They had to pay. To know that people illiterate over almost everything they say. And fooling them so widely and bravery. And people who know nothing, who take it at its truth and turn it into lies. This fellas had to pay. They had to pay and they better repent. Because I don't hear some kind of thing from these fellas. I telling you, it's overbearing. I telling you, now, since the government hit the ground, as a new government in town, the road, its bridge, its housing, its airport, its seaport, its this and that. They never stop 1 year and 1 month without get something together. Clinics, polyclinics, I think all in Jartown. We had to pay money to go all in Trinidad and had to put up yourself a dialysis center and all kind of things. All kind of things this government doing. And they still wondering, where the government? Oh, the government just borrowing. The government thing that Jim Mitchell government and other governments failed to do. To educate people in a big way and find work for them. This is what this government doing, and these people is telling you that it's when election time come on. This government doing things. Oh boy, what a serious sin. These people committing number. That kind of blessing that God gave me right 3 years. And then when you talk about the government borrowing money with this and that and terror, no, you have a port that what $1 billion. An airport that almost what $1 billion. Just to put children on the wall map to get people employed, to better pay, a better salary, make a country a better place. From a garbage heap that Pitch Bamlo and them persistent left Sylvan too. And now this government making Sylvan is a real place with education, turning youth wise, take them out of poverty. And these people who call in on the radio is a subject of that, out of poverty, but they could call now and boast and say, we're wrong for we're right. If a little chicken go bad, go. If I bring in 1,000 chicken and tell them sick, that's a problem for them. If they say a patrol in a road that now done, that's a problem for them. If they say a little bank breakdown somewhere, it's a problem to them. Everything was fixing up the second, and fixing it properly. No school are not like in them days. You never used to hear their program to fix up school. No, the government fixing up school, building more school, and oh, what a blessing. And these people come in and say, oh, it's only when election time come government to do things. You hope civil servant getting paid right through the year. How people getting the pension right through the year? How everybody getting paid? How Friday and Likak and them getting paid? So that way I tell me, if we only when the year come wrong, I tell you, Likak have something to tell God, you know. We kind of nonsense that woeful lying all the lying and telling to just to get in power to pressure. And then again, one more thing before I go. Mr. Yusuf to go austerity. I do like Barbados. Cut work. Send them home. And the same people, well, I mean, the wholesale bin, so anybody at all could, in a whole, keep some of them, but who you going to send home? The NDP people in that too? The Labour Party people in that too? And they're going and vote for the Kakan Cummins and them in a job. And they have it in a little cut job. So you see the danger where people are put themselves in when they talk about life bad. Life too good for them. Couldn't have toilet, a bathroom, had this and that, a washing machine, or country when they never have in their life. When they never seen their life, airport to them to play out, they never seen their life. And that's a hospital, when they never each comment him to doing things when election time. I'm telling you, people, you have to repent. NDP, you evil gang of people have to repent. All prices to progress and God love. All the better repent. All right, my brother.
All right. Thanks for your call. We have somebody else. So one of the callers before, he said something about, let me break away. We have a caller. Good night and welcome to Feedback.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
I started my conversation.
What?
All them NDP politicians, when them you want, if they want to go to America and anything that, they should either take a speedboat or a seaplane. Them shouldn't even go out there and say they're going past and then they put say they're going anywhere. Right? And the fellow was just speaking about the chicken and the manure.
Yeah.
He don't know what he's saying because if the manure to make sense or anything like that, the farmers them know what to do with it.
Definitely.
Right? The farmers them know what to do with it. But then what happened really? He never asked a grain with somebody.
Yeah,
but he
definitely.
just bringing it out that way. These are in, so what is second then? Rain dying? Every day from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 person dying. So chicken had to dead.
Definitely.
So I don't see what they do. They don't have no difference. They don't keep on and put all night radio. What they're giving with chicken for people to vote for them. Now it's a modern day. If you give a fella $1 million to vote for you, he could take your money and vote for you.
Definitely.
He could take your money and vote for you. Because you want to go in here and you could
No.
But you see some people that is kind of experimenting them that them tell themselves that them want to see NDP in power at any cost and any how. But it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
It will never happen in like your lifestyle. That NDP, like how God said, it has to be a new Jerusalem. So you come for the wall. It just it has to be a new NDP. None of them face it. Not even family one in the party. For them come a government in this country. They don't bother with the way them talking.
Yeah.
They don't like well because you're supposed to be a one finish mission you're supposed to be too. Okay, man, you take care.
Thank you very much for your call. So one of the callers before, he said that Marlon Butte, he was basically saying that, let me just break. We have another caller. Good night. Welcome to Feedback.
Yeah, good night.
Good
So
night.
how your caller then can make a comment to themselves? Them have to wait until somebody don't call and run down somebody. Make a comment to themselves. You can't wait until somebody make a comment when don't attack against somebody.
Well, I think that's
Yeah, you make a comment to yourself with people, hey, comments you have to make. So as soon as they hear somebody talk, I come and start to talk about that. Thank you, man.
Thank you. But I think that is how our calling program works. Anyways, so one of the callers said that Marlon Butte seems to have diplomatic aspirations, specifically in Canada where he resides. But in the start of his article, he says, to be clear, I have absolutely no interest in working for anyone. I'm quite satisfied being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, an employer of men and women, a producer and a construction worker, because I'm convinced that that is what I'm destined to be about. Now, what is interesting about that comment, Marlon says that there was no attracted, St. Vincent didn't get its fair share of investments from Canada, but he himself has invested in St. Vincent Grenadines and has opened a business in St. Vincent that, from all accounts, are doing quite well. He a few months ago he did some philanthropic work where he has helped out certain people. His business seems to be doing well, and he is basically a Canadian who invested in Canadian Vincent, who invested in St. Vincent. So we have to also look at the fact that he's saying, well, we didn't have a lot of investment, but he has opened a business that, as I said, from all accounts, is doing quite well, a quite popular business. So he saw the economic climate in St. Vincent fit enough and vibrant enough to invest in his own business. So kudos to him. But as I was saying again, let's look at the role of a council general. So a council is an official and representative of one government who resides in a foreign country, assisting and protecting the citizens of the council's country and promoting commercial and diplomatic ties. A council general is typically the senior person in a consular mission in a major city, heading the consulate general. So he's distinguished from an ambassador. The ambassador is the head of the mission to the host country. The consul general focuses on consular and commercial duties in a particular region of the host country. Now, this is important, right? A particular region. So Fitz wasn't responsible for the entire Canada probably in relation to his commercial duties. So his key duties and responsibilities, which I could say that he did very well. One, protect citizens. So he was responsible for assisting citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines who are traveling, living abroad, or in distress in relation to lost passports, legal trouble, accidents. And he was also responsible for issuing travel documents, visa certificates, etc. And that is, I never heard anyone complain about him not doing that well. So a part of his job too was also to promote trade, investments, and cultural ties, encouraging business linkages, facilitating mutual cooperation. So he's not responsible for throwing the pitch. He is responsible for throwing the initial pitch to encourage linkages and facilitate mutual cooperation. Then it is passed over to the person responsible in the country for promoting the investment. Basically, probably like Invest SVG or whatever entity that does that. And part of his role was also to represent the home country's interests, maintain good relations with the host country, local government, business, diaspora. The Prime Minister said that Canada accepts a consul general for a certain amount of years, but they were able to ask for extensions for Fitz, and the extensions were given so much so that he was up there for 12 years, when really and truly Canada has something like 4 years they allow them to be. So if he did not have a good relation with the host country, they want to accept him back for the over the time that he was supposed to be there for. And that is also something that we must also speak about, because they said they also asked for another extension up to a certain date, and it was given to him. And then they said, well, okay, yeah, that's it. But they never said that's it because he was behaving badly, because he was given several other extensions way beyond what he was supposed to get. And if he did not have a good relationship, or if he wasn't doing a good job there, that wouldn't happen, because these countries don't play. Diplomats are afforded a certain immunity in certain cases, but not if they're misbehaving. They're going to get extensions like Fitz get. So moving on, he was responsible for emergency service and crisis response in relation to national disasters, political unrest, evacuations, or whatever. I can remember Fitz being very, very active during national emergencies in St. Vincent, where they would go about to have different items that are needed in the country sent here. And it was very disrespectful. I think the article was very disrespectful, for want of a better word, when it refers to I want to find it back. Instead of reaching out to Canadian businesses and encouraging them to invest in SVG, he leaned on Vincentians in Canada to donate corned beef, sardines, and other barrel goods. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with mobilizing the diaspora in times of need for a country? Corned beef is not nothing cheap. Corned beef is not something cheap. So if come on, what is wrong with mobilizing the diaspora? When during the volcanic eruptions, Vincentians in Canada I have a I have a very I have a very close I have very close ties to many Vincentians in Canada. And I had friends in Canada calling me and asking me what we needed. And I would say to them, I don't really need anything, but if you can send items home, then I will make sure and distribute them. And several of my friends sent items home and they were distributed to people who really needed them. So maybe because I did that, and maybe because my friend did that, something is wrong with us also. Basically, that's part of Fitz job, really and truly. To so I don't understand why that was even mentioned. But there were several persons who wanted to. I think I could recall. I think I could recall. I think I vaguely remember why that would be mentioned. Because in these efforts where countries have natural disasters, there are sometimes a lot of unscrupulous individuals who put out their head under the pretense of we are doing a charity drive and we're going to send home this stuff. And a lot of the times, as I said, a lot of these persons are unscrupulous and the items reach in their hands and they never make it where they're supposed to go. I know that for a fact, so I think I can vaguely remember incident back during the eruptions of the La Soufrière where Mr. Huggins had a different idea of what should happen in relation to certain items that were being collected and were to be shipped to St. Vincent. I think I could vaguely remember. I don't know if Fitz is listening tonight as he usually does, and if he is, I would like him to give me a call and refresh my memory about that one, because he's very active on social media in relation to saying certain things. He's not calling names, but he's making a lot of posts in relation to seemingly unscrupulous acts by people in defense of his own character. So, as I was saying, in Caribbean states such as St. Vincent, there are many missions that are also honorary consul. He wasn't one of those, so we wouldn't really go into that. But there are a lot of we have several honorary consuls that are also doing very good jobs overseas in relation to mobilizing resources for helping out in education, for example, and other areas. So it says, for small states, the consul general or honorary consul often wears many hats, handling diaspora issues, trade promotion, tourism links, crisis support, right? Hurricanes, we mentioned that, disasters. And he also had to interact with other political, diplomatic sit-ins from other countries. And basically what I'm saying is that he did a very good job. And what I'm reading from, it also tells about the required skills to be a consul general: diplomatic awareness, cultural sensitivity, strong communication, crisis management, legal, consular knowledge, networking. And this is right up Mr. Huggins' alley. He was once a marketing specialist. I'm not sure of the exact title attached to Flow, where he Cable and Wireless at the time, where he did a very good job before he moved on to take up this diplomatic posting. But challenges often faced by consul generals, basically, sometimes they have limited resources. Distance, they are sometimes placed from major diplomatic capitals, and we don't have to go into all of that part. But basically what I'm saying is that I think the attack on Fitz was unjustified. I saw one of his former employees who worked under him expressing her dissatisfaction with certain things that was being said. And she posted facts just to push aside the rumors that were being made. the rumors that are being spread. So, as I said, I don't know if it's listening. I don't know if you want to call and add to this. Maybe if Marlon is listening, Marlon could call and add to what I'm saying. But I just think that good night. Welcome to Feedback. We have a caller.
Yes, man. Good night.
Good night.
This Fitzhogan and Fitzbramley, two different people, right?
Yeah. Fitzhogan is the former Consul General. Fitzbramley is the New Democratic Party candidate for East Kingston.
Fitzhogan was the Consul General?
Yeah, the Consul General in Canada. Yeah.
The guy who helped him airport with the $1 Japan, all them kind of thing?
Yeah, that's the guy, yeah.
And send ambulance and thing down here. That guy,
that guy
deserve a medal, man.
Yeah.
A Nobel Peace Prize. That guy is a real patriotic Vincent, and a serious one too. And I think he should run up Sion Hill. We're going down to run up Sion Hill because this guy really make a mark. And he's supposed to be a politician. The people exactly know what's going on with him. But I want to say something now. No, you ever a disaster take place in Taiwan at a time when Mitchell was ruling. And Mitchell government donate $50,000 to Taiwan. No, with $50 could do to Taiwan in any disaster. No, we have burial here. No, before I go to St. Louis, some of them places have disaster. Virgin Island thing and think that Camilo was raising some radio town. And they make about 200,000 send it for them.
Yeah.
And it's so on people, no country ain't going and give a country $4-5 million just so. Look how rich the country be. Maybe they might send on $10 million to part up between 3 or 4 countries that had disaster. No, I see a guy building some house in Atlee Hall, working on house in Atlee Hall. Some NDP guys. So I say, boy, you see how this government good? Seeing about poor people? They see about poor people, if people money that they send to build back the houses on them. I say, bread, look how liquor can them have all of there. And they say, burial money. I say, burial, they have no money, you know. A guy down in Canada want give government 15 million, he need a mobile price. But you get you own one of them and he do it thing and he help the government well. Till the government was going back and ask him, help me some money, man. And the same people them who helping someone cause the government, they begging too much. But I want them to know that if any government at all, any disaster, any government going to give money, maybe they might give Red Cross 800,000, they might give send an extra 200,000 to somebody, them kind of thing. To kitchen might come down. But to say why they're going to give $1 million to fix back the country. This country costs $1 billion. $1 billion in damages. You think a country going to lend you $1 billion? When you when you see people build back, the government building back house to go and say, oh, we bury money and people send money for government. How people, and they can want people them to know that just to be ungrateful against God and the government are doing so good. The government had to borrow money. When they borrow money, you call it burial money. We end up turning it into burial, turn a blind eye to everything that goes in Sylvan's law. And tell us that burial money. Burial money come under a price to pay, brother. You got to borrow 200 million. And so you're going on. The government have a money that the NDP and its supporters and cost. When they say they're going to take $1 and put to disaster, any disaster fund, that heap up to that part heat up to a couple of million. You have a next lobby and the tourism. When a man come in Sylvan, so he had to pay $3, $4 for a hotel room. And that money going straight in the government coffers. All that money they coming up to $1 million. When in the disaster, well, they can condemn that. The say should give government. The government should give them $5 instead of taking $4 from them. Encourage them to come back. And they talk about liquor and talk wisdom. We wisdom the cock have. Wisdom to lead all astray. And then the government take that money. Is that money any disaster? The government try to hire boat get Twankle to bring things from Jamaica. That's the money that's working. But this NDP people saying it's disaster, it's burial money. And people getting away money. You pass a war never hear people getting $1 million. You don't borrow them and buy just soft load and thing because of disaster. And these people so head so thick and hard. And if you tell some of them no, they keep on lying to themselves and condemning their own self. They don't understand how country running. And they put liquor condemn in country and I go find out some of you might sell your bread to eat when the morning come. Because they only care about themselves and the self alone. We want privatize hospital. And so when I sick, though, I have to pay down, suppose I have money to pay. You have to pay insurance, you have to pay this, you have to pay that. What is really wrong with NDP people? You go and you see a country running so good. Poverty. Where you have money in your pocket. And you talk about NDP. You go to a police station, wake up and guard go straight. And go in a police and go vote for liquor condemn. You oppressors. People are fighting against old and young people. Peter just call them vampires. I go on, man.
Okay, thank you for your call, caller. So, I'm reading a post from Facebook here. Okay, let me just pause. We have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
I just called back for saying something what the guy said. You see, what people don't understand. If you go to the World Bank or the IMF or any one of them places and borrow money, you borrow $100 million, they release half the money or half of the money, and you have to make sure that the amount of money you get, the work you done, value the money what they get. If them going to stop and then you have to finish it out, do the amount you left. If it only value half of the money you get, you have to put in the other half and bring it to the $1 million. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you for your
They're
call.
talking about we borrowing so much. That the America is the biggest money in the world.
America owes.
You know how much money America owes China?
Yeah, I know that.
$18 trillion.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
$18 trillion.
A lot, yeah.
So and then when I produce and everything, factory, doing this and doing that and everything, what we have? We have the fruit and green banana.
Yeah.
And then this guy will come in and say that, see, then they only could come from the station when they criticize them, and talk and saying that we only could when somebody come on. If you're talking about that, we have to straighten out.
Yeah, definitely. That's what a calling program is about.
That is what we there from.
Debate and discuss.
Put them in that, put them straight and the wood. Because them just want to come and then I don't call them the night radio and cuss and tell nobody nothing because I don't have time with them. Night radio have the crowd, we stay and got with crowd.
Definitely.
But every minute them want to come on and talking with the feel like someone to say them to put you straight. Them can't put you straight because they ain't straight.
The ideal thing would be for supporters of our side to call and interact with sensible discussions.
That is the kind of behavior system them are living in.
Yeah.
You see, them want to predict for we. They ain't going to predict for them for the nice radio. And the owner for nice radio. Then they're saying they have sports Wednesday evening. It's politics, that ain't a sport thing, it's politics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's politics, it's not. Most of
it's
the time,
your politics that's happening.
Most of the time is
and ULP won't do this and then ULP won't do that. It's politics, it ain't a sport thing. And breakfast with God. Boy, yeah, God bless the soul anyway. I'm listening you still.
All right, thank you for your opinion, caller. It's respected. Good night. We have another caller. Welcome to Feedback. Welcome to Feedback.
Hello, good night, sir. How you doing, man?
I'm going. Good night. How are you?
I'm great. I was just listening at the program tonight. But the issue wherein that they're talking about the debt of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the amount of money that is owed to Taiwan. Uh, a lot of people fail to realize that it's not like St. Vincent is a manufacturing hub. They don't really produce anything like on mass scales. It's not like they have any natural resources, something that they could fall back on that they could generate revenue coming into the country. For you to achieve anything as a small nation, you must take risks. And for you to elevate your people and to bring them forward from where they were, you have to go down the road of acquiring funds wherever you see deems necessary. Siblings have been rocked by a lot of natural disasters recent in the last couple of years that contributed significantly to the debt. But everyone just keep talking about the debt, the debt, the debt. But we have to take into consideration the URP government so far has been doing something that is unprecedented. They are going in like full throttle building back houses. Like for everyone, they contribute to materials where they can.
Yes.
And the Vincentian public has taken this as a norm.
Yeah.
It is something that they believe they are entitled to.
Yeah, and that's another that's another yes, definitely. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry for
And
cutting you off.
no, but it's a fact. We have grown so accustomed to the way that you have a government, okay, you lose your roof today and the government say, you know what, don't worry, next week we'll put it back on. And we feel that that's the way it's supposed to be. But here in these developed countries, it doesn't happen like that. You have to have insurance. If you like there's a tornado or there's a significant amount of rain fall, your basement get flooded or your house get flooded, you can call the government and tell them, okay, you know what, I have a damage down here. They say, buddy, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Right? That is what insurance is there for. You have to insure your property so that any kind of damage, then the insurance, they will come send the assessors and then they will come and fix your house or whatever, wherever you live. But Vincentian has take it upon himself and believe that the government, like, they have to do it. It's not something that they have to do, and the government is doing something as like because they want to, like elevate the nation, bring everybody up to almost onto the same standard, helping exactly where they can. But we have become entitled, and I think the NDP, if they win the next election, they're gonna have their task cut out for them, because if their Simmons is rocked by any natural disasters, the stuff that people are accustomed to, they're gonna look for them. They're gonna look to them, and they would have to deliver.
Yeah,
They would have to deliver.
yeah, it's a hard act to follow. Very hard act to follow.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. But the debt, yeah, it's a bit concerning. But you see exactly where the money has been spent because of all these natural disasters. Construction stuff is pretty expensive. I'm in the construction field. I know exactly. It's
Yeah.
very expensive.
And
You might think that okay, it might take you like $5,000 to put on. No, you're crazy. You're crazy. Just the materials alone. Then you got to labor. Sometimes unforeseen circumstances pop up. Then you might say, okay, this is gonna cost $5. By the time you check it, it's $25.
yeah, these costs went up a lot after the COVID, after the pandemic also.
Yeah,
A
but
lot,
but but
a lot of the costs for construction material.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Vincentian, they gotta be grateful. They gotta be grateful that at least they have a government who's actually trying to look out for them. They're not perfect. They're trying their best to take St. Vincent forward, and at least they should show some appreciation. We believe that the government owe you everything. They don't. They're just here to serve the people and to protect and secure the nationals. But we have become so dependent that every single step that we take is supposed to be related to some sort of governmental institution or some purpose of the government.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
You,
Definitely.
you know
I
what?
agree.
It doesn't work like that. We need to get up as a people. You need to do stuff for yourself. We have become dependent every single thing. The government, the government, the government. When it's not the government, you have to do for yourself. You need to do for yourself. Be independent minded. Vincentian people, we are strong people. We are very talented, very resilient people. But sometimes you just need to just wake up and tap into our potential. and elevate ourselves. That's how we need to do as a people. Nobody's better than us. Nobody at all. Nobody. But I'm here out here in North America. And you will go among group of people and you will hear like you never hear they talk bad about each other. But with intentions, we always try to bring the bad out of each other, and we need to just do better as a people. Better, 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 better. That's all. That's my contribution tonight.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you very much for your call. And I agree with several things that Carla said, specifically about the housing initiative by the government, which I often speak about because of the impact it is having on the citizens. People who, let me just pause there. We have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Live, good night to you, sir.
Good night. How are you?
I'm trying to see as focused as the good Lord would allow me.
Okay. Good, good.
I ain't ready call when the contribution tonight. I said to ask two little questions.
Go ahead.
One is, how is Kingsley doing? And when he get back to the radio, I would like to see you and he do the program.
Okay. He actually spoke to him today. He called me to remind me that I have the program to help him with tonight. He was in good spirits. He said he was doing doing some checkups and thing, and he would be back by the end of this month. And he also reminded me that next week I will have my co-host with me. But he's doing all right, and he will be back. And he actually said, he actually told me that same thing that you told me, that people are asking him to bring me along with him. But it's Kingsley program, and Kingsley does a really good job on his program, and he will take over back his program. If he wants me to assist him at any time and I'm available, I will assist him, but he does a really good job on his program.
I listen to Kingsley all the time. I don't have a miss Kingsley.
Yeah.
But I just figured that because he is not the 100%,
right.
Maybe he needs some help, and you'll be the ideal help for him.
Okay. Yeah. People have been telling him that. Yes. So he knows.
And
Thanks for your support. Yeah.
The next thing I want to ask you, Mr. Live,
go ahead.
That what the Americans assume or the Americans say is drugs that they found on the Vincentian Beach.
Uh-huh.
Who is in possession of that? The local authorities or the Americans?
Well, that is a weird one. I was actually gonna touch on it extensively tonight, but now that you ask, the photograph, according to New York Times, the photograph came from a Trinidad soldier who did not have the authority to release the photo, so it didn't come from a Vincentian, somebody from St. Vincent.
A reputable source.
Right. It basically said it come from a Trinidad post, someone in Trinidad who didn't have the authority to release the photo. But I don't know which beach it is on. Maybe someone who's familiar with the beaches might be able to say. But I've heard numerous reports of cocaine washing up in the southern Grenadines because of what is going on in the waters around Venezuela and Trinidad, with the Americans indiscriminately blowing boats out of the water under the pretense that they are drug runners. So what happened, I made the analogy that if you ever had a glass spill and the water or the juice or whatever substance in it, it goes all over the place. You can't control it. So when you drop a missile on a moving vessel and it has drugs or whatever is the contents, whatever are the contents, it goes everywhere. So some of these boats do have drugs on them, but the way they're stopping them is wrong. So when they blow them up, the drugs just goes all over the sea. They don't retrieve them, and they just drift all over the Caribbean, and they're washing up on the shores of different islands, and that's going to create a problem for us as small islands. And what I'm saying too, if people don't understand what happened, the last boat they blew up, the humans that were on board, they were thrown from the vessel. 4 of them were killed, but 2 were thrown into the water from the bomb or whatever they used to blow it up. and the Americans actually pick them up and have them with them now, detained as prisoners. So the same how the humans are thrown overboard, the drugs are thrown overboard, and they're washing up all over the place, and it's gonna create a problem for us as small island states when fishermen or whoever pick up these packages of cocaine that we all know are very lucrative. They're gonna bring them to shore. They're gonna try to sell them to make a quick buck. It's gonna end up in a lot of problems for us. So
Yeah.
people don't understand the dynamic of what is going on and how it affecting us as as small Caribbean countries. Because we
Life.
right, go ahead.
The other thing I heard, and I actually heard Donald Trump say this, that the boats that they're blowing out the water, he said those are international high-speed boats. And don't care how fast they are not faster than a missile.
Yeah, but
So the little thing he's saying now that he has the sea covered is trying to move up on the land.
yeah,
So I waiting to see if Donald Trump can prove to the whole world that he's a real madman.
well, he done prove that already in more ways than one. Not just in his actions.
Yeah, but I mean to get him now certified.
I have a friend who's listening right now who says that if you look closely at Trump, you can see that he's on some sort of medication to control his to basically calm him down and control certain things that he says. There's somebody who looks at him regularly, and they made that comment.
Assumption.
Yeah.
But Trump is totally unhinged.
Yeah, basically to control it. He's on medication to control his impulses, basically.
But before I go
it doesn't seem to work too well.
yeah. Before I go, let me say this to you. I would like a Tuesday night for you to come and let me talk about Caribbean politics that would involve Donald Trump.
Okay, I am actually going to touch on a bit on it tonight about the whole situation in Grenada where they bullying Grenada. Basically, I call it bullying Grenada, right? So I am going to make one more. Okay, you finish? Let me don't cut you off. It's your time.
Yeah. I can go now. I just want to say that the other thing I want to see you talk about in debt is about the national insurance that Vincentian people should pay. The ones that are not paying and working should pay.
Interesting.
So the national insurance is a good topic as well.
Interesting you mentioned that, right? Because I hear in a Bajan accent. You're calling from Barbados, right?
Yeah, I'm a half of Vincentian, you know.
Right, I realize that.
I'm from the Horn clan. I'm a Horn.
Right, you're always listening and interacting with the talk shows. Interesting you mentioned that.
Always.
Right? Interesting you mentioned that, right? Because as we know from July 1st, I think it was. No, not July 1st. Was this month, October 1st? I think it was the free movement of nationals between Barbados.
October 1st.
Right, October 1st, the free movement of nationals between Barbados, St. Vincent, Belize, and Dominica. And one of the things Prime Minister Motley is encouraging people to do that move is to enroll in the various institutions in the various countries that they go to. So, for instance, she said that persons coming over to Barbados should enroll in the NIS, the tax, and I show you I call the revenue department over there. And
revenue is income tax.
Right. She said that person should enroll in these institutions so that they can benefit and what's not. So that's also important.
But I'm not sure if what the situation with income tax. But I can tell you that the Barbados has a reciprocal arrangement with most of the CARICOM countries.
Okay.
So I'm a pensioner, and I could come to St. Vincent and live and get my pension sent to me to my bank in St. Vincent.
Right. So
that's one thing I want you to talk about, because my man, the Fred is always talking about and encouraging people to pay the national insurance.
Yes.
You're gonna need it down the line.
That's important.
Yeah.
Me and Martley spoke about doing that and encouraging that. So that's an important
Yeah.
topic for real. It's important, yeah.
Anyway, I will continue to listen.
All right, thanks for
And Kingsley wish you well.
yes.
And if you figure that you need a relocation, you can come to Barbados. But please don't forget Anita. And I will put out you on for 2 weeks.
all right, he most likely heard that. Thanks.
I know he has.
Yeah. All right.
Anita, you stay sweet, sweetheart.
Yes.
And you don't worry, I can call you shortly.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so one of the things I must warn people about, right? And I guess if you're let me just break away. We have a caller. Good night and welcome to feedback.
Good night, live. How are you? It's Anita.
Yeah, I
Mr.
realize that.
Horn, good evening.
Yeah.
Mr. Horn, good evening. Nice to hear you. That's my good friend.
Yes.
And listen, Mr. Horn, I just came off the phone with Kingsley. He's okay. Hold on. Alexa, volume down. My daughter is not behaving herself. The ladies on the morning, she'll call me Alexa, mommy. Yeah, like I'm one of the person who lobby for you and tell Kingsley. I just told him that because I called him and asked him if you're on tonight, and he said yes. And I'm one of the person who lobby and tell him to bring you on with him, even if not every time, but sometimes you're very informative and I enjoy listening to you. I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
And
Thank
it
you
is
very
so
much.
you're very welcome. From the very first time I hear you, the next morning I say, yeah, Kingsley, I gotta bring him on some more. And Wendell, good night. You know, it's just unfortunate, live that the picture that Marlon and I are distant cousin, but wrong is wrong. For him to paint that kind of picture about Fitz, it's just despicable, Marlon. If you're listening to me, it's Anita and he knows me. Because I have friends here who give me feedback, who dealt with Fitz and give him a good name. I have a girlfriend here and she went to him concerning her passport and something was wrong and he told her that he don't think that this would work. He's not sure and he don't want her to send it, and then it came back and he directed her what to do. And she called me, she said, Anita, could you please call him and thank him for me? And I called him, I told him, he said, yes, I recall the name. And he said, it's nice of her because sometimes you don't hear back about these things.
Yeah.
If I call Fitz and he can't answer me, at some point in time he will return my call.
Yes.
I called him one time and he was actually boarding a plane and he answered me and he said, is it urgent? I said, no. He said, go ahead, tell me. I said, no. You call me when you get a chance. And that is gentleman. We have to give people their credit. I don't know if it's jealousy or whatever it is. But, it's not nice. I don't know of anybody that I have heard say anything bad about Fitz, even when he was working at Flow, at Cable and Wireless. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, life continue, job, you're doing a good job. I have one little beef. I'm not gonna say it on here, but I said it to Kingsley and he will tell you.
Okay.
Okay?
No problem. No problem. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, man. So you go ahead and I'm listening. Mr. Horn, I need to hear from you. Take God's care. Life, get home safe. Stay blessed.
You
Yeah.
too. Thanks for your
Will
call.
do. Bye bye.
Yes. So thanks for the call. I appreciate it. So what I was saying is that people know Marlon is an experienced person. So, and a lot of people who comment publicly, whether on radio, social media, Facebook, whatever, knows that once you start talking and criticizing, that it's not gonna be a one-way street where you alone talk. Because social media and radio is open to a lot of different characters. And you say something controversial, it's not gonna stay there where you alone talk. So there's a there's a post from Fitzhuggins made 3 hours ago. So he says, The French class of 2001 Community College will like to know what happened to the money they raised to go on a trip to Guadeloupe. The money was raised, there was no excursion to Guadeloupe, no accountability for the money raised at Wet Dock and the car wash. What happened to the students' money? Now, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me just pause a minute. We have a caller. Good night and welcome to Feedback.
Hey, good night, Mr. Compton. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good man. How you doing? As you know, as you have heard before, several people saying that the job you're doing. But I had to call and and reach out to my friend Kingsley and see how he's doing, and hoping that all is well with him.
Yeah.
And that he'll be back. Hopefully, he'll be back soon.
Yeah.
So Kingsley, if you're listening, man, this is your friend. You know who it is.
Because you back with Mike or back with me.
Back a bit. That's my back a bit. Yeah. So I'm hoping all is well with him and he's doing well, and we expect to have him back in studio. As soon as possible.
Yeah,
and I like to say good night to Anita also. Anita, Anta. Well, I should say Anta. Sorry, I guess.
Yeah. Yes.
I hope you're doing well. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice, really. And let Kingsley know that all is well with us here, and just praying for him. Hope all is going to be okay with him.
He's listening.
I'm not gonna get into the politics, what is trending, but one of the concerns that I have is the rhetoric we are hearing, and my concern is that some of these rhetorics are going to lead to violence, especially in this election year.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that level head would prevail, and we are all one, Vinci, as we have to think of each other and respect each other. I've said to Kingsley many times when we during our conversation, we all can't be in the same boat. Of course, we're gonna have disagreement. Of course, we're gonna have people who are on the other side, and we can't take that personally that you physically want to go out and hurt someone because they have a different point of view.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping some common sense would prevail during this election season.
Yes. We have had in the past incidents where people were hurt during elections. Shot. There were instances where people were shot. I know 2 instances where people were shot during elections, and there was the unfortunate incident a few years ago where a stone was thrown into a motorcade that killed a young lady. I think it was from the Pars Avenue area. So that was kind of like why they banned motorcades, but. There was an incident in front of polling station in 2000, the last election, 2020 or 2015, where a guy struck another guy with a camera. That was a disturbance, but I don't think that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines we are plagued too much by election violence. So that's a good thing. So I will wish that we keep it like that, because yeah, the discussions usually get very heated on social media. I saw Fitz saying that tonight, that on his social media page, that he was going to report a threat that was made against his life in relation to the ongoing back and forth with the consul general post or whatever. So, as you say, it's always good when people are able to exercise restraint in these times, because the violence never helps anyone.
Right, exactly, and Mr. Fitz issue, that's a personal issue. That's not issue. If he wants to come and talk about it, it's up to him. I would not, I don't get into personal conversation and personal issues like that.
Yes.
Mr. Huggins have represented St. Vincent well, and I hope that sometimes we hear rumors. And rumors sometimes gets us into trouble. I am not the one to go out there and start talking rumors. That when there's facts, you talk about facts. Just don't jump on the bandwagon because maybe you might have a gripe with someone, or you might thought someone said something. Treat him with respect. He's a Vincentian, regardless whether he's ULP or NDP. We got to respect him for the job that he had done for St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes.
I'm not gonna hold you up because I know you have you want to wrap up and you have other people who want to call in. But I'm calling on my fellow Vincentian to turn down the rhetoric and let us respect each other and put all our differences aside and let the election move forward and let the winner, whoever wins, we jump and support them, as Dr. Friday has called for people to respect each other and to respect the laws of our country. And, that's what we need to be talking mostly about.
Definitely.
Have a very good night, Lloyd.
All
Have
right.
a good night.
Yeah, thanks for your call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have any more calls, right? So basically, we spoke a lot about Fitz. So I want to big up Fitz for his contribution to the development of St. Vincent, to bring in a lot of respect to the Consul General's office in Canada. As many people have testified tonight, he was a professional. He did his job very well. And nobody's perfect, but it's basically not much of a bad feedback from Fitz and the job that he did. It's kind of echoing too loud. Yeah. So I want to move on to a different topic, and it's basically what I have been observing is the use of AI in relation to elections and how it can mislead people. AI is a big thing these days. We see the amazing stuff that AI could do. One of the most funny things that we saw recently is somebody used AI and the Iron Man got down from his post and started running, and that generated a lot of discussion on social media. So recently, Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security, Dr. Rav Gonsalve, he was speaking about intelligence organizations operating in the region and telling them, well, basically intelligence organizations that have as their base the USA or other countries. So he was basically telling them they have to look into some of the actors that have entered the Caribbean region, specifically in relation to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the election process. Let me just break there well. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Life Compton. This is Marlon Butte calling.
Yes. I called for you to call. I'm glad you called.
So I didn't hear you call for me to call, but
right.
I normally don't listen or partake in negativity. I speak facts. I'm university trained, as you know, worked as a journalist in the early days, and so on and so forth. And whatever I have ever written was grounded in fact. And I don't go back and forth on Facebook, involving myself in childish behavior or in gossip or in things which are not factual. But I will tell you this. You have to be careful that there's not a claim for defamation arising from tonight or from anything anybody said. Because Luke Young's mother was PS at the time. And I think that there was a Hugh Wiley who was deputy chief or chief education officer. Both of them received the $3,000 plus. Many, many years ago. We're talking, how long ago we talking? Over 20-something years ago. Okay? And anybody can check with Luke Brown's mother, Mrs. Brown. I think Wiley is deceased. I hope he's not. Okay? So people ought to be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think
like
do you think that basically my opinion on what you wrote in relation to Fitz?
Man,
Do you think it was?
I'm a
Do
businessman.
you think that certain parts were
Listen to
disrespectful?
me. Listen to me. I'm a businessman. I don't operate in an enclave or in the mindset that we have come to use to in St. Vincent with 100,000 people. Okay? I'm in Canada, close to 40 million, North America. I do in business, big business. Okay? My mindset is not like that. So if you have a small country like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and you are in a super rich country like Canada, you have an obligation to focus not on dividing, because it's divisive. That's what happened. I stated fact.
But people would argue that your writing is divisive also.
Listen, man, I stated fact was, and back with the vehicle issue, if somebody feels that I defame them, then show me. It's as simple as that. Because if I'm leasing a vehicle, if I'm driving a leased vehicle, paid for by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the taxpayers, and at the end of the lease, the residual value, meaning the amount you have to pay to own this vehicle, is $3,000. And I purchased that vehicle for that $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever the case is. It would mean that I benefited from a vehicle off lease that was paid during the lease by the government. And that's all I stated. And I have a problem with that.
But
okay?
People were saying that saying
but when you go in, and like a child, like an imbecile, and talking about ask about money for this and money for that. I said what I had to say. Go to the Ministry of Education. Go to Luke Brown's mother.
I'm kind of lost. What is exactly that you're referring to?
Well. Someone said that you said earlier. I just tuned in about some post. You read a post about the students want to know about some money.
The post
insinuated or suggested.
You see. You started.
I'm telling you.
You started off.
One second.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Or Fitzhuggins or whomever could go to the Ministry of Education or go to Luke Brown's mother and ask them about that.
The thing is, Marlon, you started off the call by saying that you're a trained journalist, as I know, but you are there accepting second-hand information. Nobody never spoke anything about you in relation to any money or anything like that. You said you did not hear it, but then you said, but the post didn't call your name and nobody mentioned your name, but you said that you are a trained journalist, but then you listening.
You don't have to call a name of a person.
The person who told you that misled you.
Identify a person.
The person who told you that misled you. That's what happened. The person misled you.
Okay. Anyhow, I said what I had to say.
Okay. Good night. Good night.
My hands. Listen to me. Before I go. Okay. I am not like that.
Like what?
I came out here. Let me finish. I came out here in this country. Work hard and honestly. Did all sorts of menial jobs. Like other people have done. And built a multi-million-dollar business with my bare hands. You understand? And I have one in St. Vincent right now that's doing quite well. Okay? So I don't need anybody to pay me $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 a month. You can't pay me. I like my freedom. And I like to speak freely.
While
write freely.
Right. While you're on air.
Okay.
What is the major problem that you have with Fitzhuggins. Okay. Besides the vehicle.
Bossman, Bossman, let me go back on
The vehicle
and
was
enjoy.
the vehicle.
What we? I mean, we are some, Bossman, we are some eight-cylinder vehicles, police cruisers, recommissioned, old. What are doing in St. Vincent? It's garbage. That's why they pass. So I'm speaking as a patriotic intention. You beg for junk. That means they can mess and clutter the place when you have a problem with climate change and all sorts of stuff. But the problem is that we come to accept so little. Our standards are falling so much. And somebody like me comes forward and says something so constructive. They say, oh, you're attacking this, or you want this job, or you want this, you want that.
But you know.
That's the problem.
You know from all
okay?
of...
And and let me say this before I go. I have a record of...
You have what?
And
I didn't hear that part.
That will continue to be the case. But based on what I was told, I should call to clear the air. I don't listen. I don't engage in this social media stuff because I'm above that. Right? And I won't be calling back again about it, and I won't be commenting. I have not commented on Facebook. If I have something to write, I write it and get it published. If one of the news outlets decides that it's worthy of being published.
Right.
Okay?
Okay. So basically it goes back to it goes back to a point I was making. It goes back to a point I was making earlier that you don't have the only voice.
Well, you could talk, but when you, and I don't care what people say really, but in that instance where you are suggesting or somebody suggesting that I did something
you're reaching there
unethical or this or this, I said to go where? I said to go where and ask where this money is. Luke Brown's mother, Mrs. Brown. I can't remember her first name. It is Laura Anthony Brown. I don't think so. And Wiley. Okay? They're the ones. But check that. Okay.
Okay. Thanks for your call.
Good night. And you always.
Hello?
Life?
Hello, yeah, listening, yeah. Go ahead.
Back in the society when you cut your teeth now.
Yeah, definitely.
Back in the 90s.
I met as soon as I came, you left.
Yeah, man, you were good, always. You know?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Thanks.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks for your call. Very interesting.
Cool.
Thanks for your call. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Yeah,
all right,
yes, take it easy. Yeah. So there we had Marlon calling and giving his 2 cents and clearing the air and saying what he wanted to say. So thanks for your call. So basically, before Marlon, okay, we have another caller tonight. Good night and welcome to Feedback.
Yes, good night.
Good night.
I was just sitting and said, let me listen to the program.
Right. Thanks for listening.
I have to call. And I'm calling on behalf. I'm doing this on behalf for Fitzhuggins.
Right.
I think Marlon is jealous of Fitzhuggins. Marlon had this kind of boasting and bragging way. It's not now. Marlon said he could pull down everybody. Everybody Marlon said he could pull down. Whether Fitzhuggins bring in old vehicle, whatever vehicle, we can't pull for it. He has done a lot to convince Stanley Grundys. What have you done, Marlon? What have you done to convince Stanley Grundys? You have to face. Stop jealousy, man. You can't step in his shoes. Back off! You're not going on with him, man. Huh? What? He eat your white fowl? Leave him alone. What he bring more vehicle? He bring this, he bring that. We are thank St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He has done a great job for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You could brag up those shots at the end, they nothing. Nothing. You're owing so much and you don't pay for that, you don't pay off the detriment. And then you're talking about other people. You could boasted, stop your boastiness and leave the man alone. Because you they terrorizing Fritz every night, sir. Fritz have a loving wife, you know. So get that in your head. Stop terrorizing shit in, man. Beg your pardon for saying shit on the radio station. Leave him alone. You're a dirty dog. Okay.
Thank you, caller. I wanted to touch on another topic tonight in relation to the Prime Minister calling on intelligence age organizations operating in the region to look at the hegemonic interference. Hegemonic interference refers to the practice of a dominant state, the hegemon influencing or interfering in the internal affairs of other, often weaker states within its sphere of influence. This interference can manifest in various forms, including political, economic, and cultural manipulation with the aim of maintaining or expanding the hegemon's power and control. So basically, his PM was speaking at the opening of the 16th Caribbean Regional Intelligence Conference at the Holiday Inn in Diamond. When he spoke, basically, he was saying that there are bigger nations looking to subvert the democracy in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And well, if we're following what's going on in relation to this, he's basically saying that there are players out of China that wants to influence the next general elections and push it towards the NDP winning. And with that, what I'm seeing is the introduction of artificial intelligence into the election landscape in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is a very serious thing, right? Because artificial intelligence has evolved over the years. And at the start of the election campaigning process in St. Vincent, we saw there were several social media videos put out where we heard voices sounding like Prime Minister Rav Gonsalves saying certain things. There were also videos with Carlos James saying certain things. Carlos James's voice was basically easier to manipulate. The Prime Minister's voice is not that, the way he speaks is not that easy to manipulate. So we could naturally see, or we could naturally hear that this wasn't him and this was some sort of artificial intelligence produced video trying to say certain things. So that is something we have to look out for during these elections, right? Because according to the Election Assistance Commission in the US, AI-powered tools are more widely available and capable, and while they may benefit election officers, administration, outreach, they can also create threats to an election process. Example, people sometimes use AI chatbots to provide vote advice, and generative AI can produce content targeting voters. Some of the risks to this is that there are threats to fairness, integrity, and trust, as AI can accelerate misinformation, scale up influence campaigns, create deep fakes. Now, the deep fakes is basically what we were seeing was happening earlier. I'm not sure how popular it is. To me, it didn't really seem to catch on, but it's still existent, right? So the deep fake is basically a video or image in which a person's face, body, or voice has been digitally altered so that it appears to be someone else, typically used maliciously or to spread false information. A popular deep fake that was being circulated was Prime Minister Rav Gonsalves in a NDP shirt. So this is something that basically a lot of observers are saying that we need to be aware of. And if there are people who follow the American elections, we saw where there were numerous discussions and articles and allegations of Russian interference in the American election. So basically what a lot of people are worried about and calling on is that people be aware of the use of these AI interference in our election. A lot of ethical issues arise from the use of AI, because despite public disdain for deceptive use of AI, the negative influences remain for those who use them. And for smaller Caribbean states, while the focus is more on the bigger countries, the implications for the smaller democracies include, like, as the Prime Minister was saying, the external interference, because we are digitally vulnerable, and we really lack the capacity to search, find, and deal with these things. So we all have to be vigilant in this time, because there was a recent finding that one of the most hacked agencies in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the police force. So if one of the most hacked the police force, the various websites operated by the police force, the emails or whatever. So that is a serious thing. So basically, well, we seem to be out of time for this edition of Feedback, but basically what I'm saying is that people should be on the alert for the use of AI during the next general elections, and probably we could discuss this more in depth next Tuesday during the next episode of Feedback. So with that, we're going to log off. 21st of October. We're going to log off from the 21st October episode, as I like to call it, of Feedback, sponsored by Basil's Bar. And I am Live Compton, sitting in for Kingsley De Freitas. Thanks to all the callers who made their contributions tonight. It was a very interesting program. Keep listening, keep calling, keep interacting. Thank you and good night.
It's Feedback with host Kingsley De Freitas.